Welcome back. I, after yesterday's video, I believe yesterday, what did I call it? Whatever the last one was, that was about current flows, where I noticed some things over here. I ended up making a animation, so I thought I would just go through it. Here's the first, just the map of North America. And then with no particular order, I just introduce some currents. So this one, which is related to Baja, BC, as well as the Missoula flood and this region. So let's just play a little bit. So that current, and then I drew in this current that I talked about that then extends over here, over there, and then the next current that goes around here, holds this boundary over here, and then the next current coming in this way, and then going around that thing that's in line here, like this line, I guess. Going around there, and then continuing southward. And then I thought maybe especially going out into this region. Then I drew another current that I thought about it a while. I haven't talked about this. Okay, so a current going this way and then this way. I was kind of looking around like where where can I draw a current up here? And I kind of thought from here, like from here going around and then around and around, and then as it goes, the higher, more in it goes, the more up it goes and goes this way. But it has a path that seems to have just gone across here until it interacted with the flame structure's outer boundary, and then seemingly went down, like it ran into too much resistance, was drawn down this way and across, and then went out that way. That's kind of what I was thinking. If there is a current doing that. Oops. So I drew that there, and then generally going in as that flame structure, which I also drew out here to kind of add to that there's pressure around here, because I'm not really drawing the totality of it. I was thinking this could be done for the whole Earth maybe, and probably only makes sense to in a similar way to as I've done with the Earth's undercurrent video, with almost like in a way where that was like a undercurrent magmatic hot, and here is an overcurrent water based that are interacting at seemingly at like right angles, even like the water's flowing at a right angle to the direction of flow of the magma at certain critical points, it seems. Certainly a heat exchange process going on while the Earth is expanding. Then I drew it like coming back around to create a like basically creating boundaries as we go. And another current coming off of here going down this way, which then I kind of led to like that, because there's a current going this way, it encourages motion this way in adjacent water, and there's a current going this way, so generally the current is going across here, encouraging a motion. So even though this is against this motion, I kind of interpreted it as it like draws up from here and ends up creating an eddy here. I don't know if it fully fits because of the lack of like defined boundaries. But maybe it just is lacking the nuance that really brings forth that it happened in like to a degree, but it didn't like fully happen. Maybe it didn't actually happen in this area, and it more so happened in this area. But it still created an overall circle eddy that included boundaries like down here and drew it in, and then it comes across here, goes in here, down this way, basically divides in this yellow current, divides it. Possibly some goes down this way too, maybe I should have drawn that. Wraps around here. Then I did the Finger Lakes and I showed like the intersections of these currents and where these craters are, and then where this crater is, this structure over here. Although it's not like perfect. Also this green line where these craters are. Then I drew a line that just went like straight there. And just bounced off kind of. I don't know why anymore exactly. I was thinking between the two. I forget what made me be like, yeah, that makes some sense. Possibly this center. Possibly. And just the general flows. Looks like here. I don't know if they're... It's also not necessarily actually going in such straight lines. I was looking at this map. Pardon me. I was looking at this map. And I was trying to think maybe what ways this is happening. Like there's a current flow, and then it goes up around and then divides off, merges with this second current in part, some of which goes in, and then it collides with itself coming in this way, and then goes around and remerges. Like there's so many things going on here that were probably actually happening, and I'm just approximating with like over simplifying with these broad strokes. Trying to capture a general motion though. Let's just move on from that one. Oh yeah, I was just thinking because over here it kind of made sense, and this, and just generally with the presence of this one and the other one, that it would make sense that there was like a splitting current here that then collided though with the pressure over here and just like bounced off and kind of went around in the pressure and then had multiple layers that swooped in and then ended up wrapping around here, creating like a pull, I guess, to bring things this way, which really is what drew this green current more so. And then I drew this one down here, and then I added on this feature. Well, we got this feature where the Missoula flood and Columbian River basalt are interacting simultaneously. And water then, by this pressure here and this pressure here, going through here down this way and filling this region, while this current continued down here through and went to the Gulf. And then this current went across into the Colorado Plateau, went down and around into the Colorado Plateau. Also, I was thinking kind of shaping its ammonite shapes from two inlet cross currents, but it being held by this boundary and this boundary and this boundary. So having a container that this current is going one way, going another way, and then coming back together and creating this ammonite structure, which is really drawing zircon grains of the Appalachians over to, and Grenville, Orogenes, over to this region, as well as other places. Like it's going in here and going this way. It's going through this way as well, like the Grand Canyon, or wherever that is, maybe there. Going into this region and then going up here and getting deposited up here as well. And possibly other flows like up through it that are, I don't know. Like I was thinking that this maybe going back around this way and having like a counter current going this way based on the shape and something Randall Carlson said about things getting transported that way. I believe that was the way it got transported. I don't know, just a thought. I don't draw it because I don't know. But then this current goes out this way and it joins the flow. I was thinking this running into the Michigan mitten, basically flowing around here, around this boundary, and just turning and going this way through this like thread, through it, through this corner, through there pretty much, into here, and just like a projectile, like a beam goes in, hits the nucleus of this ammonite structure, and then it causes a outflow of material this way, is what I was thinking. Inflow of water, outflow of material, but that outflow from here flows this way and like lifts the terrain so it's more continuous, more land, as well as flowing out here into this region. I was thinking something to do with that process. But then that continued still over here and applied enough pressure to cause like a stream this way at this width that this was joining, which then flows down here. The purple current this one that flows down there. Yellow flows down there. This one goes down this way and down here. So we've got current coming in here, current coming in here, current coming in here. Creating this region, as well as then leading to a channel over here because there's pressure here, so this current ends up going this way and up, over, around this way because there's pressure out here as well, so it goes this way and then it like seeps through the pressure, etching downward and like running downhill into the adjacent eddy. Then I added this current goes across over here this way. This stuff going on over here, extending down into here. And then a balance out there. Okay, let's go back to there. View. Just full screen for now. So, current this way, and then a beam. Current this way, current this way, and out this way. I was thinking there's like a beam here. Because of the Lake Wales Ridge, I believe it's called. That is so very anomalous how straight it is. And then possibly up there. Possibly then going this way. But there's this thing here, and I'm fairly certain that Lake Maracaibo was adjacent to Florida in a way where its lightning capital of the world characteristic is related to this process. So I was thinking maybe this adds, as soon as I saw this, I was like, wait, there's all these currents squeezing a current this way. That's like going to Lake Maracaibo. And it has this adjacent current running around that's probably interacting with it. I don't know how far out this was. This might have been much closer initially, at least, until the Earth started to expand. But the flow this way, like it's related to a bond breaking between the continents, like an actual, like a chemical bond, where they were connected through Florida at Lake Maracaibo, and that became disconnected and became more of like a hydrogen bond. But I was thinking like it's not pointing there anymore. It's pointing like over at the mountains. And I thought it'd be interesting if like maybe it was initially pointing like here exactly. Hmm. Just wonder, is there any point when Florida was closer to western to this region? I found that very strange. When I had that thought and looked over here, I was like, that feature, I mean, it doesn't really make complete sense, but like Australia through Papua New Guinea was connected here. And it used to be up here, so it reconnected here. So I was wondering, maybe Florida was here, and then it reconnected with Africa here at some intermediary time, and then it expanded to its current state, where initially it was over there. Oh god. Because it's possible it was just like pushing against South America. If we look here, Florida is kind of pointing that way. If how I did this is somewhat good, unclear. Because I pinched that in, and then it ends up that this thing is like right, this right here is like right up near Florida. And then this was connected here at some point, is how I interpreted it. At a later point, it broke apart even further and then formed a new bond. Like it was bonded through this point to over here. So a lot of like complex things might have been going on here that are subtle, but that this points to by having that this like showing a general flow across here that then goes through an eddy here and an eddy here, but like through that way, while an undercurrent's flowing this way and fanning out like this in the magnetic anomaly maps. So crossing. But this current must have like gotten through to a substantial enough degree where it's actually flowing like over here. So maybe it etched this apart first. Like cut through here. Started cutting through here. I don't know about first, but contributed. Like the flow was notably a flow was going to the Hawaiian Sphere location that was here. A flow of water was coming to the pinch point of the flows of mantle material or undercurrents that pinched here. That was also here. But was actually here. So the water's like going right to it, so it's feeding into this system, probably to help cool it. I was thinking maybe when it like focused on it, it caused like a runaway change in the system, like a supernova aspect where it just cooled it so quickly that it formed like an outer shell, but the hot heat inside was so expansive that it just blew the shell that it created and like caused space to open up around it, and then the earth was more able to expand. Like, that makes sense to me. That there's some aspect of it like that where a heat exchange water is flowing to it, but then it blows up. Let's see. Let's imagine it's flowing, like Florida's hanging out here. Here, I guess. I don't know how that would be, though. Let's go back to I just don't know how this makes any sense, the way they have this. I must need to account for some details I just haven't accounted for, and how the Earth like changed across time, and I picked up on certain moments in time and just kind of interpreted it as the whole time. Because it's possible that this is more so how it started, and then it ended up moving apart and reconnecting there, and then reconnecting again with Africa, which was really the last time it reconnected, maybe. Because then it took a more, like, a shape more reflective of the last time. Kind of like glaciers are essentially, glaciation is only visible for the last event, where it like transforms the border in a real way, that like the pieces that broke apart were actually conjoined to have a shape that connected across. But they weren't necessarily exactly like that until they moved adjacent, like how Papua New Guinea was here. So many little details. So if there's a current coming down this way, there's a current coming down this way from here. Basically from here, if we go back, I was thinking from over here, flowing in here, and then around, and then down. Basically an outside current from this general eddy that comes in, crosses in, runs into resistance, and just goes down through right to here. And then another one that goes down over here, and another one, this one, that goes over, around, and sweeps in this way down here, and then goes channels through here. And then I believe comes in like this way, especially this way. And then just runs into resistance and bends here. But also like goes in here. At this point though, these currents are converging in the Gulf of Mexico. So my thought is they're converging and then they're like swirling in a way that they induce the Chicxulub impact, which then fractures the crust enough to actually have the pressure of the currents that are pushing into the location to open this, and then it like becomes steps down where it like drains and flows out this way. In here probably like holding a boundary as pressures are flowing this way from the undercurrents. Trying to remember. This one swirls in this way. This one swirls in this way. So they are opposite. That's from my Ancient Dwarka, The Secrets of Mount Girnar video, which I barely ever really look at this feature, but that's really where I talked about it. A lot of the details are still inaccurate, but also a lot have merit and validity in part, at least. It's a lot, definitely come very far since then, but I did talk about, I think, that happening. Huh. What the... I guess it was up in here, folded up in here, with this somewhere in some way involved. Maybe it had like because it bent in here, but it also bent in here, seemingly. Maybe it did something like this, or it had two layers, and it like divided a chunk, and then it had these pieces like cut off from the boundary of this, possibly even from actually atop it, like here, in a more subtle way, where it then slid out atop this chunk of South America, I think. that was below in this region and got kind of left behind as it separated underneath here. Maybe? Current, and then there's a current out here going this way that's holding the boundary. And I guess going down this way, maybe actually an eddy here, and anything past, like, going more so this way, so that this, like, went into, just pushed into the boundary, rather than running along, like the more direct resistance. It found a weak point where the current was actually not opposing it and went sideways and went through it and created an arc. Interesting. This arc seems to even have like a continuation. I don't know, maybe I'm just seeing that. That goes to Lake Maracaibo too. So then a current's probably going down here. Which we can see from this where it's going downward. That's right over here. There's a current going out, running into the current over here. Generally coming this way, that bends around here, creating this side of the Azores Plateau, and separates and comes down. I guess there's just another current that's going in this region. Wow. Current flowing this way. This way. I noticed there's this shape that then has like a petal here. That if we keep going, like around the pole, I was not seeing them, the ones I was seeing earlier. Possibly here, but I feel like it was more maybe there. I don't know. Here. Possibly there. There, maybe. And then again over here. The goes all the way around with some kind of petal structure. did they have a shologram? Petals? It's almost like there was a lot of heat exchange needed up here. Because relative to the rest of the Earth, it was much more like... I must have passed several. There we go. Much more like these. Where it's just like formed a terminal, and then the rest of the Earth is just like more like this. I feel like there was a lot more going on at the pole at forming this, which I noticed earlier. Like if we turn it like there, maybe. It's got these petals. It's got petal, 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 petal. I guess petal. But I was thinking there was maybe some kind of mirror thing going on at across it. With like specifically the Kursk magnetic anomaly and this area. I don't know. It's just a thought that occurred to me when I was looking around. Maybe we can look at this now. Oh no. Yeah, so my thoughts are it comes in here and swirls in this area. So it's under pressure. There must be more currents flowing in here. That are making it kind of swirl. I guess just this. And then over here, this is going across. And then maybe generally across here as it opens. Let's look at Earth. Something. Yeah, there's water coming across this way, going over here. This is probably holding a boundary. Across, not really going across and through, holding a boundary. I wonder if we can see all of the times. Oh, thanks, thanks, man. Not sure what I want to find. I mean, this one's pretty good. Let's look at this a little more, I guess. Oh, that reminds me. The hook. The hook. The hook. It's got this current coming down. Oh, snap. Where is Joao? Current that way. Looking for the astronaut. Is it this one? No. We're looking for this because we're seeing a hook. We see a hook at the end of a current that is very reminiscent to, has actually, I know has a current relationship where there's this current of the East African Rift that ends in this hook down here. So for there to be a hook here, suggests there was a astronaut as talked about in that episode. Like this one here with arms, legs, that was there, and then this one here. This one's real interesting because it actually cuts this, where this is like a smaller version and only like sort of cuts it. Less defined here, more defined here. More defined here and less defined here. But I was just thinking maybe the astronaut, because it's water based. If I can find the maybe he's over here. Hard to say, nothing definitive. Okay. Current is going which way? Right here. I know it seems kind of ridiculous, especially if I don't find it. I guess that's fine. Okay. Maybe a hand. And a hand, maybe. I don't really see a head, even if so. Like, it would have to be here or... Okay, I don't see it. I don't see it. It's a fun idea, but I don't see it. But now that I'm thinking of this region is forming from currents coming in that swirled and drilled down in until they could open a gap. Kind of makes sense. Like the shape around it. Its shape. Like inclusive of like there even. Maybe it essentially came in at this angle right here, which was perhaps initially here. If it was up in there, then maybe. It's definitely, this is closely tied to undercurrents. Relating to this system over here, having this jet and this here. This is closely tied to how this happened. I'm quite confident in that. Oh, getting kind of stuck on thoughts now. But I was thinking if it goes around, around, and around and wraps in, at some point it like bounces off the resistance and goes back out, but then it etches around, 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 and cuts it that way instead of cutting it. Like if this were to be a single landmass, like over here, and it came in, and then it went around, 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 around. It would then cut this way and uncoil it out that way. Or if it went the other way, if it came in this way and wrapped around, then it would have cut this way. So it would have done the opposite. if something of that nature's happening. And then it just got in enough to really boil and turn to steam. I can only imagine I participated in creating the Chicxulub crater. And a lot of these craters, maybe along the boundaries, are related to water getting down. Although these just seem closely related to crossing of currents to a point of not needing the water to go down and do some kind of steam effect. Down. Maybe it started. Let's see, where's Chicxulub? Okay, it's there. Yeah, like maybe it swirled in, swirled in, swirled in, swirled in, and then as soon as it hit, the resistance was like too much, it nova'd and caused the channel to etch around. That ended up like etching here. Even though it started the energy propagation here, maybe. It went like that way, focusly enough to rip it apart. Possibly holding a boundary in this region where this current's coming down to a degree. Or that's related to this hitting it. Influencing it more directly than over like there. And over there. Just looking like if it kind of ran into stuff up here. If there's any sign of that, of this energy, like kind of here, like whatever's going on there is pretty interesting. Wrapping up. But still running into that resistance there. Turning. Going out this way. Out this way. So a little bit down this way. Maybe a lot of it, really. So then maybe squeezed or added to the Florida currents across. Hmm. It'd be so. I'd almost have to do another like 10-minute video to even begin to capture this, but I haven't really looked into like the full Earth, like where's currents going on top of the Earth like this. It looks like it's possible, but I only really looked at North America from that angle and noticing in Northern Africa and like generally noticing over here, but not like trying to reason through it in a way like it seems most inviting for in North America. Also, this Anubis is sitting, I noticed, maybe here, with a foot down here, hand over here, holding a staff, maybe there, maybe there. It's interesting that this feature goes from that feature to this feature. Okay, before I get sidetracked. It's definitely more to Anubis, but I don't want to get sidetracked. Wonder if even this is like that. Hook. He's got the hook on the end of the staff. This thing up here. Maybe not Anubis, but something with the staff. Holding it, maybe. Looks like he's playing piano. I don't know. Piano's keyboarding. Typing on a keyboard. Okay, I'll end this before I just drag this on. Thanks for hanging out. Peace out.